Despite falling victim to a media and political establishment-led coup, Boris Johnson's peerless leadership qualities remain high in demand. The PM, who led the world with his unfaltering support for Ukraine against Putin's tyranny, has been tipped to become NATO's next Secretary-General when Jens Stoltenberg steps down next year. But could our Brexit-delivering leader have unfinished business in Downing Street? Well, the movement among grassroots Tories to bring back Boris is gaining momentum, with a petition demanding his name on the leadership ballot passing 14,000 members' signatures. Now, there has been some suggestions. Some of them aren't genuine Tory members, but the people behind the campaign say about 12,000 of them so far can be verified. But senior Tory backbencher Steve Baker accused the outgoing PM of risking a Donald Trump-style challenge to democracy by, quote, encouraging the campaign for him to stay. He told the lefty Huffington Post the idea the Prime Minister can continue now he's resigned after the collapse of his government is risible. It's not responsible, it's not right, and Boris should abandon this fantasy about continuing. So what do you think? Should Tory MPs encourage Johnson supporters to petition to get Boris on the ballot? Let me know your thoughts by emailing dan@gbnews.uk, tweet me at GBNews while you're there, and you can go vote in our poll too. The results shortly, but first, to do battle on this, I'm joined by the broadcaster Christine Hamilton, the Spectator columnist Damien Riley, and the former advisor to Margaret Thatcher, Niall Gardner. Now, Damien, you were on the show last week saying that you thought the Tory party had made a huge mistake by getting rid of Boris. The members are fighting back now.
Yes, I think all power to them. I think an extremely good idea. You've got this incredible unstoppable force of politics, this person who seems to connect effortlessly with people of all social classes up and down the country, somebody who is broad-minded, permissive, funny, able to see everything from a fresh perspective, a sort of inspirational leader, and you're throwing that out just to swap it in for someone like Liz Truss, who I think is probably the Ed Miliband of Tory politics.
Christine Hamilton, you completely disagree.
Well, look, it's incredibly tempting. I mean, this is about the dullest, most uninspiring leadership campaign I've ever seen. No wonder Kate McCann fainted in the debate yesterday. Boredom, I should think. So the idea
but she's okay, thank goodness, and we send her our best wishes.
To inject some life into it is extremely tempting. I get that. But it's the MPs who got rid of him collectively. They're the ones who have caused this leadership election, Rishi Sunak in particular. And I think they're behaving like a cross between a kamikaze pilot and a load of lemmings. This process, this system is now in train, and it's just got to continue. Boris has lost the support and the confidence of his MPs, and they're the ones. They made this unbelievably boring and uninspiring bed. And the grassroots members now, unfortunately, have to lie in it. So I think it's actually deeply irresponsible if any Tory MPs do get behind this, because it's just destabilising. The Tory party has shot itself in the foot anyway by not going for Kemi Badenoch. I mean, can things get any worse? Yes, if Boris suddenly tries to intervene. So, yes, I understand why people want it. Of course, it would make things huge fun for everybody else, but it's just not on.
Can't you understand from Tory party members' point of view, this isn't actually about fun. This is about democracy. From their point of view, less than 3 years ago, they voted this guy in with a landslide majority to deliver Brexit. He delivered Brexit. And a lot of these members, like me, by the way, feel that there was a relentless MSM campaign led by the BBC, led by Sky News, led by ITV News to get Boris out. And they feel like democracy has been undermined here, Niall, and they want the party to give them a voice, to give them a say on Boris. And whether it's pie in the sky or not, can't you understand why they feel that way?
Well, Dan, thanks very much for having me on the show today. And I think that, firstly, the removal of Boris Johnson as Prime Minister was wrong, and I oppose that. I think it was a bad decision. I do have a lot of sympathy for those, grassroots members of the Conservative Party who want to have a say here. And I think there's nothing wrong with this idea of having a petition in support of Boris, and that is democracy in practice within the Conservative Party, I think. Having said that, I do think that the train has left the station in terms of the leadership contest. And you do have a battle between two very different politicians here. I mean, Liz Truss essentially is a Thatcherite politician. Rishi Sunak represents a sort of big government, high tax approach, very, very different from the the policy prescriptions of Liz Truss here. And I would say that it is a clear-cut clash between different ideologies within the Conservative Party. That's good for the Conservatives to have this kind of leadership contest. I don't think the Prime Minister has any intention of intervening. I've spoken to a number of people close to the PM in the last few weeks. None of them have indicated in any way that the Prime Minister is seeking to stay on as PM or seeking to cling on to power. And so I don't think the story that we saw today in the Times today is accurate about the Prime Minister intending to stay on in power. In fact, I think if Liz Truss becomes a Prime Minister, she will defend the legacy of Boris Johnson with regard to British leadership on Ukraine, with regard to Brexit. Brexit will be safe in her hands. And I think that Boris Johnson certainly would be nervous about Rishi Sunak taking the reins of power in Downing Street, because that would be a very different kind of Conservative government. In fact, it may not even be a Conservative government at all.
Yeah, and of course, Truss didn't resign. I mean, Damien, what's so interesting is the establishment and the mainstream media, again, they seem to want Boris to denounce this campaign, to come out publicly and give a speech and tell these grassroots Tories they're making a big mistake. Well, I'm sorry, why the hell should he? Is it not important for his legacy and his political future, given he still harbours ambitions one day to Churchill-style return to number 10? It's important for the public to see the groundswell of support in the party behind him, is it not? I mean, I agree with Niall. He's not saying he's going to rescind the resignation or anything like that, but I also don't believe he should denounce this petition as if these grassroots Tories are doing something wrong, because they're not. They're expressing their view.
I think people like Steve Baker forget that the party exists for the members, not for the politicians. I think when you get politicians saying that they know better than the public, you go back into post-Brexit territory where the House of Commons was desperate not to deliver the will of the people. I think we keep being told that it can't happen, it's impossible to happen, but the processes can't be undone. But you saw the 1922 committee coming together very fast to change the rules so that there could be another leadership, a vote of confidence. The rules aren't set in stone for any of this stuff. If there's enough...
Well, yes, and Christine Hamilton... the Daily Telegraph, who's been on this story right from the start, he is convinced there is a way through the Tory constitution to change the rules for the Boris ballot.
I'm sorry, Dan, you broke up slightly, so I didn't fully hear your...
Oh, no. And we've lost Christine just at that point. So, Niall, I'll put the same question to you. Christopher Hope says, actually, there is a way under the Tory party constitution for the rules to be changed. You just think we're too far into the leadership contest to do that?
Yeah, I think we are, Dan, and I have great respect for Christopher Hope's writing and his analysis for this, and also have great respect for those among the Conservative grassroots who feel that it was absolutely wrong to remove Boris Johnson. But I don't see how a petition will actually change the leadership contest. And I think that's going to, fundamentally, move forward. And I don't think it's the intention of those who are putting forward the petition to alter the leadership contest. I think the final vote remains the same between Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss, and that's my understanding on this, actually. And also, Dan, to go back to a point that you made earlier about Boris Johnson being potentially the next NATO Secretary General, I think that would be absolutely superb, actually. I think that would be a natural fit for the Prime Minister. I think he would do a terrific job rallying the Transatlantic Alliance and the NATO alliance. And I think, Boris would probably far prefer to be doing that, actually, than staying on in power and running a Conservative government whereby, a great number of MPs, didn't show a lot of respect for his leadership, including, it has to be said, Rishi Sunak, who knifed Boris in the back. And that was a striking betrayal, I think, of the Prime Minister.
Christine Hamilton, we've got you back. We lost you briefly, so do you want to weigh in?
Well, I was just going to say the problem is that Boris Johnson has lost the support of his MPs, and the person who is leader of the party and therefore Prime Minister has to have the support in Parliament, and he doesn't have it. He's lost it. Now, whether that was the MSN or his own behaviour, let's not discuss that now. But he's lost it, so there's no way he can come back onto the ballot, in my view. And I think actually what Niall has just said, I think is absolutely right. Boris has got a big role to play on the international stage. And I was watching President Zelensky earlier today saying how much he valued Boris's role and how much he hoped that he would still remain part of the picture. And there you are. Boris has got a big role to play, but it's just not as Prime Minister.
Damien, final word to you.
Maybe
I think that's complete nonsense, all of it. It would be so easy just to put his name on the ballot and see what happens. The sky wouldn't fall down. The world wouldn't come crashing apart at the seams. If he won it convincingly, the MPs would fall back into line. There's no reason at all he couldn't be on the ballot.
And I think, by the way, there are a whole load of Tory MPs with serious buyer's remorse at the moment, especially when they look at the polls and they see what's happened to the Conservative Party ranking since Boris was deposed. But what a fascinating debate. Thank you for having it. Spectator columnist Damien Riley, one of our favourite broadcasters, Christine Hamilton, and the former advisor to Margaret Thatcher, Niall Gardner. Thank you all. So who do you agree with on this? Should Tory MPs encourage Johnson supporters to petition Boris to be on the ballot? Abe says, I've chosen yes, because Boris is a leader. Of course we can't know the leadership qualities of Sunak and Truss unless they get the chance, but the signs are not good. From Andrew, after Johnson's 2-year COVID fest, they still want him back. They deserve everything they get, but sadly, it will affect everyone as well. And Nicholas on email says, bring back Boris. He is the leader elected by the people. If the cronies don't like it, they could all do an Hannah Soubry and disappear. And your verdict is now in. 64% of you agree that Tory MPs should encourage Johnson supporters to petition for the Boris ballot. 36% of you say that they shouldn't. So right now, you all want the Boris ballot.